Alright, today we're going to deep dive into the Chicago Union Air Jordan 1. I finally got these added to my collection and I am excited to talk about these. Oh yeah, and if you didn't know by now, my name is DJ and this is the DNA show. So we're gonna be comparing these to a couple different unions from the past, previous retros from OG colorways, and obviously going over all the styles, cuts, and materials. But before we do all that, you know we gotta go over the history first. Back in 1985, the Air Jordan 1 originally hit the street in multiple colorways, and one of those happened to be the Chicago colorway, which is also considered to be slated as one of the greatest colorways and sneakers of all time. Along with those releases, we had the Shadow Air Jordan 1 that came out in 85 as well. And those are the two models that are fused into creating this model that we have today. Now when it comes to Union and the collaboration with this special project with Jordan Brand, back in 2018 this partnership all started with the Black Toes and the Storm Blue Air Jordan 1 on the Union collab. Since then we have seen a ton of different Jordan and Nike collaborations over the years, but for some reason the original Union 1 still hold place as the top sneakers out of all the collaborations. Now when it comes to these versus the Storm Blues, I don't have the Storm Blue in my collection because I just could not justify the resale price. These things are insanely priced then and now, and like I've told a ton of people in personal conversations as well, I would prefer having two pairs of the Black Toes over having a pair of the Storm Blues and a pair of the Black Toes. But that's just my personal preference. And again, I understand some people like the Storm Blues more than the others, yada yada, whoop de whoop. At the end of the day, buy what you like. I already have a pair of Storm Blue ones that came out, and I remember when these came out, they were sitting at outlets. I got these on discount and I was happy to pick these up. And for some reason, everybody didn't like them. But then when the Union collab came out, apparently everybody loves the shoe now. And it was actually kind of funny because people couldn't get the Union, so they decided to hype these up, and next thing you know they started shooting up in price. But again, I wasn't worried about that because I got these for my collection and I just like to wear the shoe. Now being at the point now that we have these three different versions that have released to the public, plus this woven colorway, and now that I have all three of these and I'm missing the Storm Blues, it's not like I don't want them, I'm just not willing to pay that price. Would I like to complete the set? Yes. But if I don't get them anytime soon, that's still okay. I'll eventually probably grab them. But I can tell you right now, I have a ton of other shoes that are higher priority on my list. Hey, real quick, just wanted to let you guys know we're getting really close to 400,000 subscribers. So again, hit that subscribe button. Once we get to that milestone, I'm going to be doing a big giveaway, so stay tuned for that. All right, let's get back to the video. So taking a look at the box right here, you have the all over retro card vibe, giving you the different images and sketches and posters that we have seen over the years. And this is something that we have seen on previous retros that weren't collaborations as well. So it's kind of unique, but not at the same time. And then on the bottom half of the box, all around, as you can see, you have the Air Jordan 1 OG style black and red box. The size tag reads Air Jordan 1 Retro High OG SP, Varsity Red Black Sale, size 13, just for me. And shout out to my homies over there at Hearth for holding it down. Now lifting the lid open right here, you have this semi-translucent paper and it has Air Jordan and Union branding, and there's a bunch of different sketches on here. This is actually the same paper that we saw on the Black Toes and the Storm Blues as well. So that's a cool touch to see that they kept it consistent with that element. And this time they decided to wrap the entire shoe with a set of white paper individually for each shoe as well. And then you got the shoe. Oh, you got the shoe. So I'm gonna go over all the details of these bad boys right here, talk about some different comparisons from previous retros from the past and how they have similarities to the original colorways. And then I'll make sure I give you guys some side-by-side looks at these two as well, because I'm telling you right now, there are a lot of changes on these two. I know they may look very similar, but the shape, the materials, a little bit switch ups on the tags and everything. This is definitely not the same version, and honestly, I feel like the original might just be a little bit better, but I'll let you guys decide. Looking at the outsole right here, you have your classic modern day retro Air Jordan 1 OG outsole, all red right here, and then wrapping up to the midsole, that's going to be covered in a sail rubber with a sail stitch. And then to the upper on the bottom, I would say half of the shoe right here, you have the Chicago color blocking. So as you can see with the Chicago right here and the Union Chicago there, very similar on that element. And then on the top half around the collar and the ankle area, you're gonna see the Shadow color blocking. So if you put these two shoes side by side, you can see very similar. They did make the Wings logo bigger on this pair when it comes to the Union in particular, but at the end of the day, when it comes to coloring, it's the same as the Shadows. Now when it comes to the actual material all around the sneaker, you have these two sets of leather. They feel a little bit different. I would say the red feels a little bit softer and has a slight tumble to it, and and then the white leather has a little bit more of a firm feel to it and still has that same tumble, but it has more of a stiff feel, I would say. Now, one thing that I really love about the Union Air Jordan 1s in particular, when it comes to the cuts all around every single edge of the sneaker, that's gonna have a yellow finish on it all throughout the area. So if you're looking at the toe, the side panels, around the swoosh, anywhere around the back end, around the ankle, the collar, it all has that yellow finish, and I really like that touch because it helps give a little bit more dimension to the sneaker. Today's partner is Sneaker Throne. They have multiple options when it comes to durable and high quality display cases. One of my personal favorites is the drop side display case. I'm a size 13 and I can easily fit my shoes inside of here, and I have hundreds of these stacked throughout my rooms to display my sneakers. When it comes to the cases in particular, you have 4 different color options: clear, black, white, and red. So if you're looking at grabbing one of these for yourself or for someone else, make sure you guys check out sneakerthrone.com, and don't forget to use the discount code DNA Show at checkout for 10% off for all your orders. Now, looking at the swoosh right here, you have more of a, I would say it's like a kind of like a, not like a felt, but a thin nubuck type material. It's not actually like a leather, and this is similar to the black toe Union one, but the nubuck on the swoosh on that pair in particular is a lot nicer. Now, these come standard with 3 pairs of laces. So you have the sail with the black tip, you have the all yellow, and then you have the black with the sail tip. And if you look how these black toe ones are laced on here, you can see that it has that 2-tone tip. That's going to be the same concept here with the Chicago. One thing that I can say is, for some reason, these laces are like really silky and they don't really lace up that well. So if you were to rock anything to be more comfortable, I would say probably go with the yellow lace, just because they won't fall out as fast. Otherwise, you're gonna have to really tie your shoes up tight. Now, looking at the tongue right here, you're gonna see similar to the Chicago Air Jordan 1. Also right here, side by side, you have that white or sail tongue, whatever you want to call it, on this front end. You have the blue Frankenstein stitch. I always call it the Frankenstein stitch because they're putting the 2 shoes together. And then on the top end of the shoe right here, you have the black tongue, similar to the Shadow Air Jordan 1. And looking at the actual tag on the shoe, it has more of a paper-like finish to it with the all-white patch and the black Nike lining. And on the original releases, you can see on the tongue, it's actually similar to how all the other retros are, with the regular tag and the Nike Air branding. So again, just another small switch up right there on that element. Now, looking inside the collar, you're gonna be covered in an all-black mesh, and then on the sock liner right here, you're gonna have that same imagery like you saw on the paper. Now, one big upgrade on these compared to the previous release is they have something similar to a Dream Cell insole. Compared to on the previous release, you had that skinny thin blue insole that wasn't that nice. So one thing that I can say is, on the collaborations and on the OG releases, we're starting to see more of nicer insoles put into these shoes, and that is something that a lot of sneakerheads are appreciating. Again, it's not the best, but at the same time, it's definitely an upgrade. So I'm sure you know everybody has been hyping up this sneaker. The resale price is pretty expensive, and obviously a lot of people think the shoe is fire. But at the end of the day, is this gonna be one of the top sneakers of the year? You hear this conversation early in the year when there's these great collaborations coming out or stuff around All-Star Weekend, and sometimes they actually hold true and stay in the top 5 at the end of the year. So could this one potentially be in that conversation? Let me know down below in the comment section what you think. But I always like to post a poll anyway, just to see what everybody else thinks. 87% of the people chose fire and 13% of the people chose trash. Do you think that's a good representation of this sneaker? Again, if you haven't already, make sure you follow me on Instagram so you can participate in the polls and see all the results here on the channel. Now, I also wanted to know, how do these shoes rank against the black toes in particular? Because I heard a lot of people having this conversation as well. 53% of the people chose the black toes and 47% of the people chose the Chicagos. And honestly, I think that's a pretty good representation of a 50-50, simply because it could go either way. This is the new hot shiny thing. We'll see how it settles. Other people weren't collecting at the time when these came out, so they're happy about these. Vice versa, they like the Chicagos more than they like the black toes. You name it. They could justify so many different reasons as to why one is better than the other. Now, when it comes to actual quality, like I was talking about earlier, I would say that the black toe is just slightly better than this Chicago. I would say simply because of the feel of the leather. Again, they might both be synthetic leathers, but at the end of the day, as sneakerheads, we're gonna go based off of the feel, how stiff the shoe is when we wear it, if it breaks in better, all those different elements. And I would say just overall, from initial touch, I'm going with the black toes on quality. But don't get me wrong, I wouldn't mind switching those insoles out because those cheap blue ones are not as nice. So hopefully that gives you guys a nice look at the sneaker, some of the details and the differences between others. Speaking of differences, before I forget, I almost forgot. If you look at the perforations and the holes on the toe On the black toe, these little dots that you see right here on the front end, there's no yellow lining with the inside of that. It's just all white. But if you look at the Chicago, they actually ended up putting a yellow lining within all of this area as well on this part. So I think that small detail and nice switch up honestly is a really good touch, simply because even if I look at the perforations around the holes where the eyelids are at, that also does not have that either on the black toe, but it does have it here on the Chicago. So I think they brought even more consistency with that element to the shoe all throughout every single part of the sneaker on the Chicago, and that's something that wasn't done here on the black toe. So again, I like the attention to detail on the Chicago. So that's gonna do it. If you guys want to see any other reviews, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. And again, we're getting very close to 400,000 subscribers, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button just so we can do a giveaway. I'm ready to give away some shoes. All right, you guys, I'll see you in another one.
I would never let you down, it's in my DNA. The only choice I like to make, what I'ma wear today. I would never let you down, it's in my DNA. The only choice